Alright folks, welcome back to another day of Sudoku. Let's get started. We've got a medium puzzle for us today to solve. Let's go ahead and get the starter going. Let's let the mind do some wandering. I tell you, sometimes this is therapeutic here, is relaxing, chaotic days, being able to put some things in order when they work is nice. Okay, let's see what I see here. I'm seeing some numbers. I see some 1s and 4s are popping out right in, especially here in this middle part. I see a 4 in the top row, 4 in the bottom row, leaves us with a single 4 here in the middle. I saw a 1 in the middle, a 1 on the bottom, a 1 on the left, and a 1 on the right. Okay, I see this column here in the middle. Got an 8 and a 4. We've got an 8 over here. Okay. Right now I'm just letting my mind wander here. Alright, we've got this little corner up here. We've got a 4 that comes across. 4 from the bottom. So we got our 4 here. Alright, we've got a 1. We've got a 3 here and a 3 here. So one of these two is our 3. That's alright. We don't have that solved yet. We'll come back to it. Let's see here. We've got this section here's got some odd numbers here. We've got some 2s that come across. One of these two is a 2. Okay. Alright. Alright. So it looks like kind of my wandering. I'm going to go more to some ordered numbers here. Let's start with the 1s. We got started here with some good 1s. So we've got a 1 across the top and a 1 across the middle. This cube needs a 1. Well, there we go. We've got a 1 here vertically. Now this one is the left column. We've got the middle column. So for the middle cube, there we go. Alright, so now this cube is the only one left because we've got 1s in these top cubes. So we've got a left, we've got the right, we've got the top, and we've got the middle. So right here is, so boom, 1s are done. That's good. Oh, it's a nice feeling. I'm going to take a moment. Okay. Enjoy those small accomplishments as well as the bigs. So here we've got some 2s. Let's go across to the right cube, and we've got one spot for the 2. We've got a 2 that comes up, so one of these 2 is going to be our 2. So let's go ahead and pencil mark those fellers in. Alright, in the center cube we have a 2 that comes up the middle, which is going to give us a 2 in the right or the left columns, or the top or the bottom. And then over here in the right, left, we've got a 2 that comes up, and it gives us 3 choices for our 2. Alright, in this top middle cube we've got a 2 that comes up, and we've got a 2 that comes across, but we still have 3 choices. We have a 2 in the right column, and we have a 2 on the bottom column, bottom row. Still gives us 3 choices. Okay, let's look at our 3s. We've got a 3 right here. Now we already see that this can't be a 3, so we know one of these 2 is a 3. We've now got a ghost row up here of 3s, because these 2 are the only ones that can be a 3 in this row. And we've got a 3 across the bottom, so we know the middle one is going to be our 3s. Okay, let's look here in this. We've got a 3 that comes across. Well, these 4 could still be a 3. We've got a 3 that comes across the bottom, so these 3 could be a 3. We've got a 3 that comes across the middle, which means these 3 can still be a 3. We've got a 3 that comes across the middle, and a 3 that comes down the right. Oh, and we've got a 3 down the middle here, so actually gives us just 2 options here for our 3. Okay. Alright, so we got our 3s identified. Let's look at our 4s. We've got a 4 in the top, we've got a 4 in the right, left and a right. We need a 4 in the center cube, okay, which means one of these 2 have to be our 4s. We've got a 4 in our left middle cube, our middle cube, our right middle cube. In our bottom left cube we've got our 4. So let's look in this middle bottom cube here. We have a 4 that comes straight down the middle. We have a 4 that comes across the top. So we have 3 spots that still could be a 4. Okay, this is going to help us out though. We've got a 4 down the left, 4 down the right, 4 across the top. This one has to be a 4. So now let's come back here and look at this one, and we'll see that we've got a 4, we've got a 4, and we've got a 4 in the middle, which is going to leave us crisscrossing with these 4s here. Those are going to be our 4s. Okay, so let's look at our 5s. Okay, I only see 1 5 in this puzzle, which is right here. Bringing it down is going to leave us with 2 options down here. Bringing it up is going to give us too many options. Okay, coming across the top is going to give us a ghost row here for 5s. We've got the top row and the bottom row with the ghost row, so that's going to tell us one of these 2 middle ones is going to be a 5. Okay, alright. And I think that's all we're going to get just because there's only 1 5. So once we get more 5s, that will help us out. Okay, let's look at our 6s. So we've got a 6 here in the middle cube, and we've got a 6 here in the right middle cube. Bringing those across, that just leaves us with a single option here. Now we've got a 6 in this bottom left cube and middle left cube. Those both come up and cover the middle and the right column. We have a 6 across here. Leaves just 1 spot for us. Now the 6 on the left and the 6 on the right, and then a 6 on the right column, leaves just 1 spot here. And then bringing it down here, we've got a 6 in the left column, 6 in the right column, 6 across the bottom, leaves us with 1, and that should help us to solve this one. We've got a 6 in the right column, a 6 in the middle column. Boom, all of our 6s are done. Which right here where our cursor's at, we know we need a 7 in this cube, and I see right here next to it is a 7 that covers this row. There's our 7. Okay, so let's look, see where else. It looks like our 3 7s are just in this right set of cubes. I don't see any other 7s anywhere, so we'll just kind of follow those through. Okay, so if we follow this 7 through, we're going to make a ghost row of 7s. So if we know there's a 7 here in the middle, one of these 2 is going to bring our 7 across the bottom, which means we're going to have a 7 up here across the top. That also shows you that this 7 eliminates these 2 of being a 7. So again, these 2 can only be 7 as well. So you've got a ghost row that can help you out with that, but you also have another way to eliminate those 7s as well. Alright, we have a 7 coming here through this middle. Does that help us at all? Let's see, we still have 4 choices up here. We still have 3 choices up here. Okay, that doesn't eliminate us any. This bottom 2 cubes, if we've got a 7 that comes across, we've got 4 choices still in this middle one, and we've got 3 choices in this left one. Alright, well, we'll come back to that one then. Okay, let's look for our 8s. Okay, I see this middle bottom cube here. We've got an 8 to the left, we've got an 8 to the right, and we've got an 8 above, which is going to bring us here to this 8. Okay. Now we've got an 8 to the right and an 8 to the left that we just solved, which means one of these middle 2 are going to be an 8. Okay, we've got 2 8s already over here to the left. These 3 cubes, so we bring up to the left, we bring it through the middle, and because of this one, we have just 2 choices for our 8. Okay, so we've got our 2 choices here. Let's look in this column here. We've got an 8 across. You know what? I'm going to pause here for a moment. See how there's only 2 left in this cube? Well, see how there's 3 left in this row? That's going to tell me automatically what this number is, because the 3 is already filled up in this cube. It cannot be one of these 2. It has to be this one right here. Okay, just get that out of there. And now we've got 2 choices here. What are we missing? 1, 2, 3, 4, a 5 and an 8. A 5 and an 8. Okay, so let's mark those. 5 and an 8. 5 and an 8. Do I have anything over here that can help us, or down here that can help us? Okay, I'm not seeing it just yet. That's okay. Alright, and then what are the 2 numbers we're missing here? So 5 and a 9. Okay, a 5 and a 9. So let's mark those. 5 and a 9. 5 and a 9. Okay, cool. Alright, so let's see. We're going to the 8s. Did we figure out an 8 over here? We've got an 8 that comes across the middle. So 8 can still be in these top two or this bottom one. So we still got some choices here. So let's look in this left column here. We've got a 1. One of these two is our 2. Can't be here. We've got a 3. We've got a 4. Okay, we've got a 5 in one of these two because this middle one can't be it. 6, 7, and an 8. So we know this could be an 8. This could be an 8. Okay, but this one can't because of this 8. So right there, these three are now locked in for this column. We've got that one. Okay, let's go ahead and look at our 9s. I know we were a little bit short on some 9s, but let's see if anything solves out for us here. Okay, so I'm seeing a couple ghost rows. See this 9 here? I see that it completes this column, which means that a 9 has to be here in one of these two to complete the row. Oh, did I hit 8 there? Yeah, I hit that by accident. So now I have a 9 that comes across that row, which tells me these two cannot be a 9, which means, boy, I'm having a hard time stretching my fingers for that 9, that one of these two have to be a 9. Okay. Alright, we have a 9 that comes across the top row, and we have a 9 that comes down this column, which tells me that one of these two has to be a 9. Okay. Alright, which lines up, we know the 9 has to be down in one of these 4, but we don't have any eliminations on those just yet. Okay, let's look at in this middle cube here. We've got a 9 in the left. We've got a 9 across the top, so any one of these three could be a 9. Okay, alright, so we've gone through and we've numbered these quite a bit, but we still got some gaps here. So let's look at some of these rows, columns, and cubes and see what's missing. Okay, this cube looks like it's fully marked out. Okay, this row and this row are fully marked out. So what number are we missing here? Let's look at this here really quick. Okay, now I see that we're missing a 3. Now we've got a 3 in this left column and we've got a 3 here, which now eliminates and brings us down to just 2 numbers on the 3. Oh, now this is great right here. See the same 3? Over here on the left side creates a ghost row for us. This 3 completes this row, so it means that one of these two have to be a 3. So if I've got a 3 across the middle and a 3 across the bottom and a 3 up the left side, this one has to be our full 3. So we can actually get rid of those 3's. Alright, great. So that just solved that number there. See, that's what the thing is we were filling in gaps. Now if we go through the numbers again, that can help to solve some missing spaces that we didn't have anymore. Okay. Alright, so let's see what else we have that we did not have before. Okay, we were looking at this column right here. So we've got our 1, we've got our 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we know that a 5, a 5 cannot be here because of the ghost row, but we have a 5 and a 5. 6, 7, now 8s. Where can an 8 be? So an 8 cannot be here in this row because of this 8. We already have a possibility of 8 here. Can an 8 go here? It looks like that is most definitely a possibility. And then a 9. Now we cannot have a 9 in the top, but we can have a 9 here. So it looks like this cube is fully marked out. Okay. And it looks like this cube here is fully marked out, which is looking good. Okay. Alright, we're moving along here. I'm trying to look for some magical numbers here. So see how we have 2 5s? Okay, and we've got a 9 and a 2. So let's look at this row here. So we've got to have our 1, we've got to have a 2. So here's one possibility for a 2. This one eliminates this 2, so this one could be a 2. Okay, we need a 3, which we know here's our 3. We've got our 4. We know we've got our 5, 6, 7, 8. Now we need a 9. Okay, so we know that this could be a 9. And we know one of these two could be a 9. But there's no elimination there, so we've got a lot of choices. Okay, so 9s could be any one of these. Let's look at this cube here. Let's see if we can, because there's another number that's missing. What else is missing? Or maybe that's all of them. Maybe we're just missing a 2, a 3, a 7, and a 9. Okay. Alright. Okay, so that's okay. So we know we've got some more numbers here to solve for this one. Okay, I see this top middle cube. We have a 2 to help us out. You see this 2 down here brings up to the middle. This 2 across to the right comes across the bottom. So 2 has to be in one of these 2 spots. Now in the center cube, by elimination, we said that one of these 2 have to be our 2. But this one can't be a 2 anymore because of this one. It eliminates it. Now watch this here. We're going to solve this whole cube by cascading. See how one of these 2, this has to be our 2, but you see how there's 2 5s? So if this goes to 2, 5 is only allowed to be here. And see how these 2 have to be 8? Well, if this is 5, then this one has to be 8. See how these 2, one of them is 7? Well, if this is 8, that one has to be 7. And then, of course, now we cascade to the row. The only number left here is a 2. Now we cascade to this column. If this is a 2 or a 5, well, we cannot have a 2. We've got that one, which is a 5. Which, now, if this is our 5, this is our 8. This is our 5. Now, if this is a 5 or a 9, well, it can't be 5 anymore, so now it's a 9. And there is our 8. So they start to cascade really quick as you get that one little lynch pin in there, and it just lets them go. Okay, so the 2 numbers we're missing here is a 2 and a 3. Well, we know that this cannot be a 2, so there we go, 2 and a 3. Now the 2 numbers we're missing here is a 7 and a 9. So we don't have the 9 yet, so let's go ahead and mark that. Okay, now we do have a crisscross on the 9s, which is going to be helpful. So you see how we've got a 9 because of this ghost row, this 9 here. It says one of these 2 has to be a 9, so we can't have any 9s across the bottom. Right? So we've got a 9 to the left and the right. And here we have a 9 to the left and the right. Anytime you have this crisscross, that means this 9 completes this left row column. These 2 9s complete the right column. Okay, so it's like a double ghost row here. And we've got a 9 here. So coming across, we only have 2 choices for the 9. So that will help us to deduce where the 9 goes. Okay, now alright, so let's look here. We just solved some more numbers here. Let's see if that's helped us out here. Down in this bottom 3 cubes, they're kind of missing just a couple numbers here. See this middle row and this top row only have 3 spots. So what number are we missing? See, here's a 5 and a 9 and a 5 and a 9. So that tells me, see how we're missing a 3? Well, you can't have a 3 because here's a 3. You can't have a 3 here because this is a 3. Also because they're both 5 and 9, double elimination, those 2 are locked. That one has to be a 3. Okay, so those are going along really good. Now we've got a 3 across the top, and we've got a 3 across the bottom. Tells us that one of these bottom 2 is a 3, and that lines up with the 2 over here that's a 3. So our 3s are all marked out now. Okay, so we didn't have them down to 2 just yet. Now we do. Now with these 2 3s, okay, we know this one can't be a 3. We've already solved that 3 here. Okay, so we have a 5 and a 9, and we have a 5 and a 9. That's great. So those will cascade as we solve which one of those. Now let's look at this middle row in the bottom cubes. So we've got our 1, 2, 3, 4, and we need a 5. Okay, so this one can be a 5, this one cannot, this one can. Alright, so we've got 2 spots, this one and this one. Then we've got our 6, and then we need a 7. So we can't have a 7 here, so we can have a 7 here though, and a 7 here. We've got our 8, and then we need a 9, and it looks like we've got our 9 and our 9. So, because it can't be here, because we've also got 2 9s here. Okay, so that row is completely solved out for the moment, and those will cascade as soon as we get one of these numbers. See, this is a 7 and a 9. Well, that tells me that in this right left column, 7 and a 9 and a 7 and a 9 lock these 2 squares. That's all they can be. So that means I've only got 2 numbers left, which is a 3 and a 2 for these 2 here. Now I see there's a 2 all the way over here. Makes this one a 3. Makes this one a 2 to complete this column. Alright, so that helped out there. Now that says that this one cannot be a 3. That one's done. And if that one cannot be a 3, remember we only had 2 choices for our 3. Now we had 2 choices for our 9. Okay, and so the 9 is complete. Now we've got a 9, okay, and we've got 2 numbers missing here. What's our 2 numbers that are missing? 2 is no longer an option, which means our 2 goes here. Okay, so what are we missing? We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we need a 7 and an 8. Now, this is kind of a neat thing here too, is that now that we know these two, this one will tell us whatever's left. Okay, so if these two are a 7 and a 9, well, our 5 blocks that off, which allows this to be our 5. Now we have 2 choices for 5 down below. This is where it's going to just cascade, solve them all out. Okay, so if we cannot have a 5 here, there is our 5. Okay, now let's see, this one only can be a 7 because we've got our 7 over here. This one can only be a 9, and you'll see that these start to cascade. Okay, now that we have our 9, well, now we have our 5 and our 9. Okay, we've got our 7 already, so the only number that can be left is our 5. Okay, what else do we have? So we already know that this was a 7 and an 8, and now that we have our 7 and our 8 down below, we can see this is our 7, here's our 8. Alright, so this middle row, we are missing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're missing a 5. Well, here's our 5, so it can't go here. So 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So it's just going to finish off cascading here. These bottom two, we know one of those is a 9. Well, we just got our 9 here, so this cannot be it. So we were just missing one number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're missing our 7. What number are we missing here? It looks like a 4. Okay, now if this is our 4 down here, then we're going to go over here to our 4, and we are missing our 7 above. Alright folks, there you are. Solved. Feel a little bit peaceful, a little happier, putting some things in order to a chaotic Monday. Ups and downs. It's fun sometimes to take a break out, and I enjoy math and Sudoku because it does help give me a little clarity and a little sense of control in the uncontrollable world we live in. So hope you guys had some fun with the game. Feel free to leave comments or challenges, and would love to give those a go. And we'll see y'all later. Have a good one. Bye.